Man, have I ever seen. I have never. No, I have never. Think I've seen people in real life to be this fucking stupid.
Those were up, and they did.
More smarts and my. He told me enough.
No, I.
Here's Chuck.
Hey everyone, it's Don G. Corleone here, and I'm here with a brand new Top 11, and this Top 11 is going to be for a horror-themed one, and this is the first one I've done in quite, a while. Yeah, I haven't done a lot of top horror lists in a long time. I think the last time I did it was 2021 or something like that, or I think it was 2021 around that time. No, 2022. But this is the first one I've done since then, but it's definitely been a long time since I did a horror-themed list. But now, we're doing one Cody Leach did one of these earlier, and I got inspired to make my own list of this one. And this is going to be for the top 11 dumbest decisions in horror movies. And oh boy, this is quite a popular cliche. Because everybody does there's always a horror movie where everyone does the dumbest fucking idea I've remotely seen when trying to survive. And they immediately die because they're so stupid to come up with real plans. Either it could be splitting up, either it could be staying right where the killer is, or either it could be not putting the killer down in fatal areas and instead doing the non-fatal areas to attack him with, and just leave and think he's dead till he gets back up and kills you. Yeah. You can see why there's sometimes some horror films are not that popular nowadays. Because that's in almost every new horror film nowadays. Stupidity. But it was even some of the good horror films have some of this moment for some characters. Oh my god. But yeah. Here's the movies where I found the dumbest decisions of a horror film. There are some I like on here, and there will be some that I don't. And the ones I don't, those are going to be pretty high up the list. Now, number one is for a horror film I do like the unrated version of, but it still is not going to save it from being on this list. But anyway, let's get started with down to the 11 dumbest decisions of horror movies. So kicking off at number 11 is going to be, Cloverfield. Look, I love this movie, guys, don't get me wrong, but I've already mentioned, there's going to be movies I love that are going to be on this list, because there are some stupid decisions that happen in them. And the reason why Cloverfield is on this list is because, it's around near where the final jump scare of the movie. You'll know, as you all know from when I reviewed it at the beginning of the year to start off 2024, Cloverfield is definitely one of the best found footage horror films ever made. But there's easily, in the end, there's one really stupid choice that happens right around the climax of the film. In this movie, the plot is this baby monster attacks New York, and our characters race all the way through New York to save one of their friends' girlfriends, and once they find her, they finally are able to rescue her, and they get to a nearby helicopters that are evacuating residents, and they manage to get to the final one. You would think that once they're in the copters, the pilots or soldiers flying the copter would literally fly away from the wreckage or fly farther away from the monster. No. You want to know what they do instead? They go right near the fucker, and they literally are pretty close to the monster, and they literally view the monster getting bombed. Of course, the bombing does not kill the monster. And guess what? As like TJ Miller obnoxiously is celebrating, the creature literally gets right back fucking up. Instead of like the pilots just flying away after they see a bomb, just fly farther away. No, they just stay right where they are. And the monster just jumps right out of fucking nowhere and smashes the helicopter with its mouth like and literally sends the leads crashing right into Central Park, where the cameraman, like TJ Miller's character, when he sees the monster, we get a brief glimpse of it, but you think TJ Miller would just try to run the fuck away? No, he just stands there in fucking fear and fucking shock instead of just try to back away slowly. He goes back for his camera, then he sees the monster, just stands there, allows the monster to go, and the monster literally eats his ass, kills him, and then the two leads like literally hide under a bridge. Instead of like trying to get out of the city but get a little bit farther away from Central Park, they just go and hide under a bridge. Well, to be fair, I don't think there's anywhere for them to go, so those two at least get a pass for not trying to go anywhere else. There was nowhere for them to go, but TJ Miller and the pilots, yeah, no. Those three make the dumbest choices at the very end of the film. So yeah, we get an iconic jump scare with the stupidity, but the pilots though, yeah, it's number 11 because the pilots choose the dumbest decision when evacuating residents. Kicking off at number 10 is going to be the 2006 remake of The Hills That Have Eyes. Another horror film I love on here. Yeah, but the reason why though is because there's also one stupid choice our lead character does when he's getting his revenge. This is one of those remakes that is an improvement over the original and a much better version. But there's a reason it's made the list. Like here, we all know The Hills of Eyes is about a family that gets stranded in the desert and they get terrorized by and tortured by mutant cannibals. During their reveal, during one of the most intense scenes of the film, the baby gets kidnapped and nearly half of the whole family is either raped or killed, or then raped and then killed. And so our lead Doug goes to save the baby, and Doug gets captured by the mutants, then he manages to escape. He gets his revenge on all of the mutant ugly fuckers. And it's very satisfying to watch this guy who was like, no guns, I hate violence. Nah, he's saying fuck what I thought earlier. I'm gonna kill every one of these little fuckers and I'm gonna save my baby daughter. He does that, he kills every one of these fuckers, and it's satisfying to watch him get his revenge on these pieces of shit that have killed half his in-laws, killed his wife, has almost killed his infant daughter, he's just gunning them all down, he's not giving a fuck anymore. And we get to one final mutant with a Western showdown. Doug shoots the gold gun right into him to pieces. He's shooting the mutant to flesh pieces. But then right there, as the mutant is down, Doug gets a little bit of a moment of stupidity. Where after the mutant is down, he just stops shooting him. He walks right up to the mutant, just drops his gun right near the mutant's body, and then Ruby, the actually only good mutant of the film, gives Doug his baby daughter. But of course, predictably, the mutant gets literally right up and is about to shoot Doug with the gun he just dropped right near his body. And but the only reason Doug even makes it out alive is because Ruby just literally chose to sacrifice herself, pushes the mutant off a cliff right there. So had she not been there, Doug and the baby, their asses would be dead. So yeah, honestly, Doug should have really not stopped shooting him. He should have kept shooting the fucker. Once the fucker was on the ground, Doug should have shot him right in the fucking head. Right there. That's the one flaw Doug has there. But other than that, I think Doug's a great protagonist. But honestly, you don't need to have him get one moment of stupidity right there. Kicking off at number 9 is going to be Cabin Fever. Pretty much Roth's first directional debut, the movie that raunchy let Roth into the horror spotlight. Yes. And how the movie goes, literally, our movie is basically a homage to little epidemic horror films and cabin horror films, combine those into one entire movie. And it's pretty much a bunch of kids, they go to a cabin for spring break or summer break, one of them. And this affected hermit encounters them with an unknown disease. And from there, from right there, these kids make such stupid decisions in any teen horror movie I have remotely witnessed. The stupidest one, Bert, is going to shoot squirrels because he thinks squirrels are gay, which is a funny-ass line, I will admit that. He accidentally shoots a hermit, and he just runs away, but then the hermit finds their cabin, and instead of, like, the first thing these guys do, they set the hermit on freaking fire. And they don't even try to leave the damn cabin. Literally, they just set them on fire and think that's going to solve all their problems. But then, of course, apparently we find out as the water's been now infected some days later, and they are literally just getting the disease one by one, and they just get more and more stupid the more they get infected. Like, the guy Bert literally drinks the water from a bet, then he gets it next after, like, one of the girls gets it. The guy goes to the store looking for help, and then you get the pancake scene with the kid, the karate kid. Like, and what does Bert do? Like, Bert doesn't even try to run back to the damn car. He keeps saying, no pancakes, like that's gonna do shit. Then you have, like, two at the cabin where they literally decide to have sex while they're literally infected. Not giving a fuck like they're infected. Like, one girl's like, I'm clean, go ahead, it's okay. Like, and they start fucking each other, even though they've already just touched a disease from trying to dumbassly stop one of them from bleeding out to death, even though she looks dead as fuck. And then, of course, then she tries to leg shave in the infected water. She forgets the water's infected. Then, like, one last guy left finds the dead hermit's body in this water reserve and starts poking it with a stick. And then he falls into the water and he gets infected. Although, to be fair, one of them actually does try to be smart with the brain and actually tries to get the fuck out of Dodge. But then even the guy who leaves, Jeff, becomes a fucking idiot. He goes back and he sees her dead body. He's like, I made it! I fucking made it! I fucking made it! He keeps shouting that instead of just leaving the cabin right away quick. He goes back, he keeps gloating how much he fucking made it. And literally, his fate gets sealed by his idiotic gloating because as he's shouting, I made it! I fucking made it! And he gets, like, shot down by the cops. Literally, because, like, yeah, like, this guy was about to be smart by actually leaving them and actually getting out of the fucking cabin while he had the chance. But nah, the guy decides to stupidly just go back and he just pretty much gets his ass fucking killed. Oh my god. Like, this guy should have just went as far away to the border, got the fuck out of Dodge, never returned. Oh, you know, and also, the kids are not the only stupid ones. Like, just about everybody in the whole movie is stupid. Because you have this party cop who doesn't even bother trying to help them out. And he just throws the last guy that's about to be sent to a hospital. He throws him into the damn water, all because he ruined some party of his. And it's pretty much for some lemonade kids to get the same water from. So yeah, the party cop pretty much dooms the entire world because some guy ruined his fucking party. Real smooth. Moron. Kicking off at number 8 is going to be another horror remake, and it's one for the 2010s. Evil Dead 2013. This is a remake I like, but I don't like it as much as the original. Just to clarify, I still think Evil Dead 1, I still think Evil Dead 2, I still think Army of Darkness are way better than this movie, alright? Okay, I still like the original trilogy better than this. Besides, I also think it's the weakest Evil Dead film. There's plenty of good reasons. There's good gore, but it doesn't automatically make it better. Evil Dead 2 can never be topped, and that will always be one of the greatest horror films in cinema, and that will always be the best horror sequel in my eyes. But anyway, it's another good remake, but seriously, you want to know how the whole events of the remake happened? Like, the plot is pretty much like the original movie, but there's a few different reveals and there's a few different choices. How it all happens, though, is actually also through even more bigger stupidity than the original. Like, even the characters in the original were not this stupid when they found the book. Like, once our new characters arrive at the cabin, our two male characters, Eric and David, they explore the basement, and they find literally dozens of rotting corpses from the ceiling, and they find a beam, and that should give hints that somebody actually got burned, but you think the two would get freaked out and maybe try to leave the cabin, maybe get some suspicion. Okay, maybe we shouldn't stay here. We should probably leave. I don't think we should be at this place. They're like, whatever. Not that big of a deal. Let's totally stay here. This place seems cool. And they literally just set out about cleaning up a bunch of cats. But the one guy that is the dumbest of the group is the long-haired hillbilly guy, Eric. Probably the stupidest character of the Evil Dead films. No doubt. Like, all the shit he has to basically go through that literally unleashes all the evil. He literally cuts open this barbed wire bag covering the whole book. He rips open the garbage bag, and he literally etches out all the magic words that had been scribbled out for good reasons. And literally, he ignores all the warnings, says, leave this book alone. Whatever, I'm gonna open the book anyway. Yeah, he does just that. It's fucking ridiculous. So honestly, once they start dying and getting mutilated by the possessed Mia, you can clearly see why they all died this quick. Because one of them had to go be a fucking idiot and ignore warnings. Like, honestly, I'm glad this dumbass fucking died. This guy was satisfying to watch die for being a dumb fuck. Here's the lesson. If you see something that says, leave this the fuck alone, you leave it the fuck alone and you don't cut it open and read it out loud. Congratulations, Eric. You've doomed all your fucking friends. Great job. You just earned the reward for the dumbest character in the franchise. Bravo. This is a good remake, but the characters really infuriate me a lot in this one, and there's reasons why it's my least favorite Evil Dead film. Now, kicking off at number 7 is going to be 28 Weeks Later, the sequel to the zombie horror hit 28 Days Later. 28 Days Later is no doubt the best modern zombie film out there and easily the scariest one I've ever watched in my life. Its sequel from 2007, 28 Weeks Later, it's not as good as 28 Days Later, but still a pretty good sequel nonetheless. I mean, like, in this movie, you get a kick-ass opening scene, like in a house at a heartbeat playing over it, and the main character's running away from the zombies. That's a pretty kick-ass opening scene, one of the best opening scenes of any horror movie ever. And but from there though, the rest of the film just is not as strong as you're hoping it's going to be, but it's decent enough. One thing I can agree on is you don't get as much good characters in this one. And you want to know why? Because every single one of them, from the kids, to the paramedics, to the security, to the dad, to literally all the residents that try to repopulate London, are stupid out of their minds. Like, when they repopulate London again after the outbreak, they don't just try to wait for a bit. As soon as the outbreak dies off, let's repopulate London again. It's all safe now. I think the virus is gone. No, it ain't. Not yet, it ain't. Don't you think you should wait a little bit before you repopulate anything? Even though, and you think they would at least try to get good security to keep them in the safe zone. No. Even the security can't make smart-ass decisions. Their security in this movie has the brains of Chief Wiggum from The Simpsons. And the residents literally have the brains of the Springfield residents as well. Even the kids themselves have, the brains of almost all the children from The Simpsons. The father from the intro, I forget his name, I think it's Robert or something like that. He doesn't, we all know he pretty much leaves his wife in the house, but he probably clearly has to. He didn't have a choice. He doesn't even try to come clean to his 2 kids about what happened to their mother at all. So that just leaves the kids to pretty much decide, you know what, we're going to leave the safe zone and we got to get a picture of our mom to remember her. They wander off from the safe zone themselves. That's the number one dumbest choice to do in this movie. Probably the one that got me the most angry. And they do find their mom still alive. They get apprehended by security and pulled back into the safe zone, but you think there's a bit of hope now. Maybe they have a patient to study and find a cure for the rage virus now. Because she's not showing any infection signs. She's infected, but she's not showing any signs of rage. The stupider choice? They don't try to guard the whole area she's in. No, none of them. So Robert tries to also makes the dumbest decision to go in and kiss his wife, thinking it's safe to kiss her when she's encountered a bunch of rage-infected people. Security doesn't stop him from doing that either because they're all a bunch of Chief Wiggums. So yeah, Robert gets infected, and it spreads on to all the residents as well. And of course, then one of the two kids also gets infected, and then at the end, after Jeremy Renner's character sacrifices himself, and the kids are evacuated, the pilot doesn't even try to see if, like, either one of them is clean of infection. So yeah, the kids get evacuated for it to be pretty much spread to the rest of the world at the very end of the movie. Yeah, that's pretty much my biggest problems with the sequel. I mean, it's still a good sequel, but there's reasons it's not as good as the first film. The characters, unlike Cillian Murphy from 20 Days Later, who was fucking awesome, these characters have zero enjoyment. Okay, to be fair, that's not true. These characters are really infuriating with the choices they make in it. Kicking off at number 6 is going to be Ari Aster's second horror film, Midsommar, from 2019. Yeah, this was literally Ari's second feature film, and definitely a disappointment compared to Hereditary. Like, after I saw Hereditary, I did enjoy it, and I was first excited to see what else he could pull off. What other great thing he had under his belt. That has not happened at all with any of the two movies he has done after Hereditary since then. Like, recently, we all know last year he did Beau's Afraid, that had a giant penis monster, and The Guy Afraid of Dying by Masturbation. But before that, before that movie happened, he literally attempted to do his own version of The Wicker Man. And it was literally about this mentally unstable girl, played by Florence Pugh, and her asshole boyfriend, and his friends all go to this festival hosted by a cult that they had got invited to by one of them. And when we meet these guys, like, they are not just stupid, they are unpleasant to watch. Like, when you first see them, they literally talk about, hey, you could be getting that waitress pregnant right now. They're talking about smoking pot, treating Flo's character like fucking trash. And when they do get there, their stupidity, though, is really exposed. Like, first instance, during one of the festivities, you see two people jump off a cliff and onto the ground. Their face splits open. Once that's all over, when they get back to the village, they get back to the hut, the boyfriend and one of the friends literally argue. Instead of, like, arguing about what they just saw, their decision to argue is about stealing a thesis, where instead of getting the fuck out of Dodge, they're like, I'm gonna steal your thesis. Hey, don't steal my thesis. Go get your own thesis. This is my thesis. They go on and on for like 2 minutes about the thesis, and I'm like, would you both just shut the fuck up and just get the fuck out of the village? Stop arguing about your stupid assignment. How about fucking leave before things get worse? No. But two of the tourists do try to leave, but their dumbest decision is they announce it to the damn cult so they get killed off screen. It's like, yeah, you guys did try to leave, but you announced it to the whole village, so you two just bought your deaths on your own fucking selves. Like, yeah. Then, of course, like, Will Poulter's character, who's one of the two friends of the asshole boyfriend, pees on their tree in public instead of trying to find a bush to do it. And so he doesn't give a fuck. It's like, oh, whatever, I didn't know it was special to them. Fuck that. So he dies the first of the game. One of them then sneaks in to take an illegal photo of the village's stuff for his thesis again. And then he dies by a guy wearing Will Poulter's face for a mask. Then once Florence Pugh's character and her boyfriend are the ones left, the boyfriend then agrees to foolishly take this drug once Florence Pugh's character is out of sight. And it's literally... And then he basically gets involved in this orgy while drugged. Then once he regains his senses, he runs out butt-ass naked, and then goes, instead of like trying to run into the forest, he goes and he hides in a hen house, where a villager is able to find him, paralyze him, and is then successfully sacrificed by pretty much his girlfriend, who's now been completely corrupted successfully. And he's basically burned alive in a bear suit. Yeah, honestly, all three of these guys got what they deserved for making such dumbass choices. They brought all their deaths on themselves. And honestly, I could give less of a fuck about these three, about what happened to these three. Kicking off at number 5 is going to be Paranormal Activity from 2007 or 2009. Who gives a fuck what year it's from? It's from 2009, not 2007. Get your research straight. This is one of the most overhyped horror films to this date. I've never known how this got so much success, so many sequels, and literally, and I don't even think Spielberg actually probably liked this film. I bet Jason Blum probably wrote that down so that the movie would get fame. Like, I doubt Spielberg even saw this, and if he did, like, whatever. But the plot of this, like, yeah, this guy gets this camera and vlogs him and his wife's lives, but then some invisible demon enters the house. And so they try to call an exorcist to take care of it, but the husband, Mika, decides to be rude to the exorcist, ignores all his warnings and advice to not to fool with the demon. What does he do? Yeah, he fools with the demon because this guy thinks he's so punk and badass, but instead he just makes the demon stronger. And his wife even there's a scene where his wife tells him not to buy a Ouija board. Guess what he does? Buys the Ouija board, and it pisses her off, and they argue about it for like 3 minutes. And then he tells him not to use powder. What does he do? Uses powder anyway. And when he decides that, when that doesn't work, he finally decides to let another exorcist try to handle the situation. But by then, it's long too late to handle it. The demon is way too damn strong to be taken care of at this rate. So the priest is like, I'm not getting involved in this. I'm out of here. Bye. Yeah. It doesn't help them, so he just leaves them to die. Then Mika agrees to basically, okay, fine, we'll leave the house for good. But by then, dude, you fucked up your chances of redemption. Katie is now long possessed. So the final nights, when the movie literally actually tries to even be scary, he immediately gets killed by a possessed Katie, and he gets thrown to the camera out of nowhere. And this was like the one scene the movie even tries to be scary, but as soon as it gets scary, the movie's fucking over. That's it. It basically ends with the husband getting killed, getting his comeuppance by death, and a possessed Katie's just walking up to the camera, and where it's like, rah, and eats the camera, and the movie's over. Like, literally. This guy pretty much ignored all the warnings, and he suffered for it. And somehow this gets so much money at the box office and gets to have a bunch of sequels. And I don't know why it did, because I don't think it deserves any fucking sequels. It deserves to be in the trash because it is overhyped and boring as hell. Now, kicking off at number 4 is going to be for The Strangers. This is a horror film that I used to like, but in all honesty, this film has aged horribly. Like, I did used to like this film, but as the years have passed, it has really not held up well. Like, the thing is, like, this movie takes a realistic concept horror for a horror film that would normally make this a terrifying film. And yeah, this actually seems like a good idea for a horrifying movie, as this is definitely a lot of real-life scenarios. And I will admit, the scene of Kristen, Liv Tyler's character, standing in the house where the man in the mask in the background is pretty iconic. And, like, them killing them because they're home is a pretty terrifying line of concept, but the problem that lies in the movie, the characters allow it all to happen. And you want to know why? Because they are the dumbest couple I've seen of any horror movie yet. Like, throughout this whole movie, all Kristen does is just run around the house screaming like a little bitch, terrified, and just manages to injure herself. James even literally manages to tell his girlfriend, stay right there. Don't try to run the house. Even though the house is already full of danger, maybe she should run out of the damn house. While he goes to look for help. Then James tries to get his friend Mike to come into the situation, even though all the things that hint foul play, like throwing this rock window on his windshield, and doesn't even think for a second. And Mike doesn't even try to call the police or even call for his friends. And so guess what? Mike foolishly brings up his accidental murder onto himself. And then when the strangers do get introduced, it's literally through a door knock, and they say the line, is Tamara home? Even though that's clearly a trick to see if anybody is home, and would wait for an answer. Like, if you hear a knock, if you're in the middle of a forest and you randomly just hear a knock at night, don't you think maybe you should not answer it? If you're not expecting anybody to show up, how about don't answer the door? Alright? If you're not expecting anybody, don't answer it. Alright? Like, you're taught that when you're kids. When you're left in the house alone, don't answer the door for strangers. Yeah, but because they no, you got the wrong house. They just expose themselves there. So the strangers keep literally coming back. So pretty much Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman pretty much get themselves killed at the end. Yeah, These two pretty much bought the whole movie on themselves by not doing one single smart choice at all. And people could be like, but this is a war. But in this situation, nobody would make a smart choice. They'd be too terrified to make a smart choice. Or like, well, how about maybe just try to go out the back door of the house, not try to go through the front. And like Liv Tyler's character, when she almost does escape, but Liv Tyler like had the chance to just flee the house, get as far away, but no, she decides to go back for Scott's Beeman, so she pretty much gets herself tied up and stabbed to death. Yeah, like, should have just left the house while he had the chance, dumbass. Yeah, and even Mike trying to save them literally gets himself killed as well because they're already paranoid and expecting a stranger to show up at this rate, so Mike also brings his death on himself. So yeah, The Strangers, I think it's pretty overhyped. It's one of those horror films that has aged horribly. And it's like, yeah, right? Just has not really aged well in the slightest. Alright, kicking off at number 3 is one all of you have been familiar with ever since I started my channel. And that's of course going to be Craptivity Time. And what's part of it? Literally the whole fucking movie is one such dumbass choice after another. Like, holy crap. I mean, everybody, not just the lead girl, but also even the torturers and kidnappers are fucking morons. All of them. Like, the plot is, like, our lead girl, Cuthbert, plays this model who gets kidnapped, held captive with this other dude in an unknown location. Same plot as Saw? Yup. And guess what, guys? Cuthbert's character does the stupidest shit in any torture porn film by she ignores her captor's orders, gets literally knocked out again and again, ends up in a torture situation that doesn't even remotely kill her, and so any of her torture situations should be bloody pointless to do if she doesn't even die in any of them. And then when she finds this other victim, this guy literally comes off as a creep in all his scenes he's in, but she believes this guy is innocent, and believe it or not, guys, this is the same guy who played like one of the guys in Spider-Man 2, where the guy Mary Jane was about to marry. Yeah, that guy. That guy plays the other victim. Right there. Don't you think, but just the way this guy behaves, she should have a little suspicions. If he seems to know everything what to do and how to escape, like, wouldn't this guy be a little suspicious and not relieving to see? Like, and his reveal as the abductor or the kidnapper, oh man, it is so obvious from the beginning, and they don't even try to hide any of it. They make it so obvious the minute you meet this guy's the guy who kidnapped her. Then after he kills his other accomplice, that we have seen a little more throughout the film, then 2 cops show up, they're looking for Cuthbert, and when he says, she's not here. The 2 cops, I kid you not, they're also nearly as stupid as the cops from The Simpsons. Right here. Again, another like little Simpsons reminder for this one. Because these 2 ask, oh hey, before we go, you think we could watch a bit of a football game? In a literal kidnapper's fucking house. And guess what, guys? When they're flipping the channels at commercial break on, that's how they literally find Cuthbert in the footage of the cell she's in. Before they react, they literally just die. Then, of course, Cuthbert randomly escapes because the killer clearly forgot to lock the damn door. Gillies actually goes down and alerts Cuthbert, I killed the captors, we can leave. Then she finds out this dude's a captor through all the books as he's taken a long-ass time to clean everything up. And then when she finds out, she takes literally for fucking ever to kill him. Like even stupidity happens in the finale. She forgets to literally cock a gun. And then the kidnapper, Daniel Gillies' character, even makes the stupidest choice by teaching her how to do it. Which literally gets his damn ass killed. Yeah, just about everybody with shifter brains. And even the villains in this movie can't make a smart fucking choice. Because they are probably the world's shittiest kidnappers I have seen in a horror movie. Yeah, like, let's totally teach my soon-to-be victim how to cock a gun, and I'll get myself shot. Great idea. So yeah, pretty much the only reason Cuthbert escapes is because the villains got defeated by their own stupidity. Yeah. So Cuthbert doesn't really escape out of revenge, she just escapes out of luck by being a literal dumb fuck. How ironic. Now, kicking off in second place is going to be for a third found footage horror movie on this list, and it's from the 2010s. And it was more of an independent horror movie. That goes to VHS from 2012. Now, when it comes to this whole VHS series as a whole, this series is mixed. VHS 2 and the most recent one, VHS 85, are the best films in this franchise. They're the only two that I love. VHS 94 and VHS 99, I mixed on those two. Like, those movies have like one or two good segments I like, but that's about it. The spin-off film based off the one good segment in this movie, Amateur Night, called Siren from 2016, is alright, but I don't think the character of Lilith or Lily really works for a movie. She only works for a short film, and that's it. And I think VHS Viral and Kids vs. Aliens, the spin-off film based off the Alien segment from VHS 2, are piles of dog shit. Now, Viral, I will admit, I like the skateboard segment at the end of the movie. I think the skateboard segment at the end of Viral is pretty fucking cool. However, the movie that had started this series, the one that started it all, this movie just sucks. Like, literally, you have, like, even without that, like, one good segment, if you took out Amateur Night, this film would probably get viciously bad reviews, and it would probably literally bomb. Yeah, if the only reason the first film really gets remembered is because of the Amateur Night segment, and that's about it. So for those who hate the first one or wondering, why the hell did this movie get praised? They don't praise the movie, guys. I think they're only really just praising Amateur Night, and that's about it. Literally, like you have this. Other than that, though, the rest of the stories are either just boring or just bad filler. From either the most boring honeymoon you'll ever see, from Tuesday the 17th, which has good gore, but it's just glitchy all over the place, it's hard to see shit. A Skype call that's somehow on a VHS tape for no reason, even though it shouldn't be, and a Halloween party that actually seems like a segment that would belong on a VHS tape, but it gets ruined by a shitty downer ending. And, like, with the exception of, like, there's an exception of the characters from the Halloween segment. I'll admit, the characters from the Halloween segment weren't actually bad people. Those guys were just really immature, but they were going to Halloween parties, so their immaturity was kind of reasonable. All the characters in every single one of the segments of VHS 1, they are so despicable that you just want them to die as soon as you meet them. And this movie even drags on forever, for like 2 damn hours. And however, the story in this that really ruins the entire film is no doubt the wraparound, Tape 56. This wraparound is pretty much about these criminal filmmakers who are just so unlikable, rude as hell to watch, or even listen to their dialogue when you meet them. Like, we literally get introduced to them, they shark girls and you sexually humiliate them, they smash houses and try to film sex tapes themselves and they get exposed, and believe it or not, the sex tape scene keeps randomly cutting back to it, back and forth throughout the entire wraparound. The wraparound is just jumbled all over the damn place. And it's like literally... And of course, like, once they get through the assignments, that takes forever to get to, they get to the assignment where they have to go steal one specific VHS tape. When they get to the house they're assigned to go to, they see this room with a bunch of TVs and a dead guy in the same room. You want to know the choice they do? They don't just choose to literally just steal one of the TVs or the cassette player and the tapes and just leave and go watch the tapes at their damn house. No. They literally choose to watch all the tapes that you see in the movie in the same room with the dead guy. Yeah. Making your characters assholes in horror movies is one thing, but in an anthology film, making the same criminal assholes idiots is another. And after each segment ends, like, either the old man will be gone or one of the criminals watching the tape will be gone. And once you get to the 2 last remaining ones, they notice their friend's gone and they don't even think about just leaving the house. No, they still keep watching the tapes with the dead guy. And once you get to the last leader with the ugly mustache and he sees the old guy gone, he doesn't even leave the house either. He just thinks they're still alive. He goes, searches the house. And then he comes up to one of the criminals' headless corpse. And he goes, fuck! He even says it like that. Oh my god. Oh my god. And then, but then of course he gets chased and killed by the zombified old man as apparently eating all their asses. Yeah. So the guy falls down the stairs, and the guy literally just easily dies like that. So, yeah. Making characters assholes in horror anthologies is one thing. But also making the wraparound characters fucking idiots is another. So, yeah. The lesson is, when you're making an anthology horror film, and you're trying to have a wraparound and how to present your shorts to the audience, don't have your shorts be presented to the audience by literally making all your characters fucking idiots. And with that, the number one stupidest damn choice I have ever seen in a horror movie goes to No Doubt. Yep, guys. Number one is going to be Halloween Kills. Yeah, this was going to be my obvious number one making this list. Now, I'll admit, I like the unrated version of the film. The theatrical version, no, not really a theatrical version. I could care less about the theatrical cut. But yeah, even though this was still going to be number one on this list, no doubt. Yeah, but because I can agree with people, the characters in this movie really infuriate me the most. You have a nice concept for a Halloween sequel. The whole town of Haddonfield actually decides to finally fight back and dispose of Michael Myers. A great concept for a Michael Myers movie. But how they try to do it is the most poorly thought out way possible. Once you get to the hospital where the whole plan is really starting to happen, where Tommy is assembling all the people, when Tommy makes his speech, he thinks the whole townspeople literally, he keeps saying evil dies tonight, and then the whole entire town is literally just chanting, evil dies tonight, evil dies tonight, evil dies tonight, evil dies tonight. How about you all just shut up and leave the fucking hospital and go search for Michael Myers? Stop chanting the same annoying damn phrase 600 damn times. Instead of trying to find Michael Myers, which seems like a smarter idea, and once they do finally decide to spring into action, it's because they think this Danny DeVito lookalike is Michael Myers, even though that looks clearly nothing like Michael Myers. They should know what Michael Myers looks like, and I don't think Michael Myers would have long-ass hair, would probably not reveal his face to them. No, and they're still yelling evil dies tonight as they're trying to pursue him. And literally, the orderly jumps out the building and ends up getting killed, so then they realize, oh crap, we got an innocent guy killed. So they actually do decide to leave the hospital. And they manage to finally find Michael Myers, and the whole mob starts to attack him. You would think once they find Michael Myers, don't you think they would try to shoot him in the damn head with the guns once he's on the ground? No. All the mob literally does, they just basically whack and shoot him in non-fatal areas. Once he is on the ground, Tommy, they should have just let Brackett just shoot him in the damn head and hurry up. No, Brackett doesn't even do that either. What do? They just stand there, they're putting their weapons down, and they just stand there and freeze and don't even just try to leave. They just stand around Michael Myers, and then Michael Myers, this allows Michael Myers to just get the fuck back up, and he just kills all of them, as Laurie Strode's making her little monologue about how Michael Myers gets stronger the more he kills, and literally... And it ends right with Tommy Doyle being killed and smashed with a baseball bat. And to be fair, the people in the David Gore Greed trilogy are stupid because they also, in general, because they complain about how everyone dies from Michael Myers every single day, even though it's normal in every single town, people die every single day, and they just literally bitch like it's suddenly some normal thing, and guess what, guys? The whole trilogy, nobody tries to move the fuck out of town. Because I guess Haddonfield's the one town in this whole universe. Don't you think maybe there would be other towns to live in? Maybe the people should try moving and not complaining about death, which happens every single day. It's like it's this whole bad luck curse for them. Yeah, sure, we had another movie coming out, but if you were going to have another movie coming out, you did not need to make the characters so dumb as a brick. Or be stupid to allow a cliffhanger or downer ending to happen to set up your next movie. No, Jason Blum, dumbass move. Yep, guys, that pretty much wraps up the whole top 11 dumbest decisions in horror movies. So, I want to know in the comments down below what your list would be for the dumbest decisions you saw in a horror movie. The ones, whether you agree with some of mine or disagree with some of mine. And now, guys, some of the horror movies I still like on this list, but they don't get a fucking pass for their dumb decisions that happen in them. Some I definitely do hate on this list, some I like on this list. But guys, every good horror movie can have a stupid choice. Every horror movie always has a stupid choice. It's kind of a normal thing, but yeah. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of my list and what yours would probably be. Or whether you think Halloween Ends should have been number 1 instead of Halloween Kills. Whether you think the people in Halloween Ends were stupider than the characters in Halloween Kills. Let me know the choices down below. But until then, guys, that'll be it for this top 11. Thank you all for watching. If you like this and want to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe to Don G. Corleone.